What's going on, gamers? We got some more PS5 Pro PSSR 2 facts here. I don't know if you guys remember, I made a video last week trying to tell people that it's going to be able to hit 60 frames. All you had to do was do the math when it comes to Crimson Desert. And now we got some even better news. Yeah, your mind's about to get blown. These guys are taking optimization to the next level. This engine is incredible. I mean, it's even better than what Capcom's doing on Resident Evil Requiem. Yeah, let's get ready for this. And then we got some Series X comparisons to settings along with PS5 Pro. So right here it says Crimson Desert official console specifications and modes. Base PlayStation 5 and Series X will be performance 1080p 60. This game is doing 60 frames per second on this. That's how good this engine is. So I was trying to tell people last week that these guys know what they're doing. Balanced, there's going to be upscaled 4K 40 and then quality 4K 30 upscale. You got 3 modes here, even on the base consoles. This is incredible optimization, and this is how you do it. Once again, another embarrassment to the Unreal Engine 5. Not only the RE engine do it, not only have other engines done it, but we've seen it happen with Ghost of Yotei, 1800p 60 frames ray tracing. The PS5 Pro is going to be doing performance upscale to 4K 60, right? Whereas the Series X, if you want to compare it, because we know the base PS5 is there, people were trying to say what they said before, is only doing 1080p, where the Pro is doing 4K. It's lapping it, it's leaving it behind, and giving you 60. Balanced, 4K 40 to 50 with VRR. Quality, 4K 30, but you're probably going to get native. PS5 Pro will use the new version of PSSR. Here's the thing too, guys. There's a chart that I'm going to get to in a second. It's going to show you that the PS5 Pro version can actually go over 60 frames per second on this game with VRR. Yeah, it gets interesting. I mean, if you take a look at this game, man, I mean, it looks incredible. Look at this. This game, I'm excited for this game. Look at how good that looks. See, it's all about optimization. This tells you a lot about this generation, which is why it needs to finish strong too. Yes, I'd like to talk about here. Okay, so going down, as he says, I bought a PS5 Pro a month ago for this game. I hope it's worth it, man. I think it will. The game will run over 60 frames per second, not just 60 frames per second on the PS5 Pro. It's like, oh yeah. See, PSSR 2, once again, is showing you, see that Resident Evil results, right? People are trying to grip a little bit on that too because there's a mistake with the denoiser on the Capcom engine. And I was like, that's not a Sony problem because it's also happening with AMD cards. That is a denoiser issue that Capcom has to fix. The PS5 Pro, PSSR 2 is showing you once again. Guess what? Performance mode, 4K 60. You're doing 1080p 60 there. Quality is going to be native 4K. But here's the thing that's going to blow your mind even more. Are we ready to take a look at this post right here? Here's the specifications. We're going to go over this. This is the mind-blowing part. PS5 Pro is going to be doing ray tracing on high at 4K 60. Yeah, you're reading this right. You see that? If you want to get ray tracing high on the consoles, you need to go quality mode for Series X, but you're getting 30 frames per second. The Pro is going to give you 4K 60. And look at this. If you have VRR, 60 plus frames per second here, guys. See, this is where, once again, where the PS5 Pro is setting itself in a different class with PSSR 2 than the Series X. And it's not something that you thought was a fluke with Resident Evil Requiem. You knew that there was a difference because Capcom does not play any games. Now we're going to take a look at all these specs, but we're going to get back to that topic in a second. It gets very interesting. So the base PlayStation 5 has a resolution of 1080p, as we saw that. The Series X 1080p. They both can do 60 frames per second with VSync, and they can go a little bit past 60 frames per second too with VRR, but they're not going to be doing ray tracing high. They're going to be ray tracing low. There's a difference on PC if you go from ray tracing low to high. Everybody knows this. That's a totally different realm there. And then balanced, the ray tracing is still low, but you're going to be getting 1280p with FSR 3 upscaled 4K instead of 1080p performance. I think a lot of people would probably like this setting right here, which I think is pretty nice to be able to do balance. Now the Series S is going to have to do 720p for performance to give you 40 frames per second with VSync, and ray tracing cannot be on. And the quality is 1080p with 30 frames per second, and ray tracing still cannot be on. So the Series S is not going to be able to do ray tracing, and it's not going to be able to hit 60 frames per second. But the fact that they're still able to get this game doing 720p and 1080p without any upscaling shows you how good this game is. This game could be on a Switch too, you know, down the line. So what I could do is get off the screen real quick so we could see this part over here by the Series X, which is pretty much the same as PlayStation, you know what I mean? Upscaled 4K, upscaled 4K, 1440p FSR3, 1440p FSR3, 30 frames per second VSync, and ray tracing high. This is incredible that they can get high ray tracing on the base consoles. That's how good this engine is and the optimization. But the Pro here can do ray tracing ultra on quality, just so you guys can know that. That's pretty insane if you guys are going for that. But I don't know why I would go from high to ultra when I can have 4K 60 frames per second and staying locked at 60 with VR and go past that and have high ray tracing. I mean, this right here is the perfect mode. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying again when I say that when you think about how exciting the PSSR 2 is, it's allowing you to do what you would see only in the PC world and the console world. It sets itself in a different class now. It's now like on its own bracket. I think Microsoft should have done a Series X mid-gen refresh. That would have been nice. They would have been able to pretty much in the same ballpark, maybe a little bit more, because they usually like to take it a little bit farther, like they did with the Xbox One X compared to the PS4 Pro, though they both were great, you know what I mean? But instead, you got to wait on the Magnus, which is going to be almost 2 years from now, because we're still at the beginning of this year if it launches late 2027, but Microsoft said they weren't so sure about that. I saw that there was some information up about that earlier, but we kind of get the idea here, right? So, guys, this is it right here. The performance mode for the Pro is where it's at. You're getting 60 frames, 4K, upscaled from 1080p, upgraded PSSR. They're letting you know this is PSSR 2. That's how they're doing that. So this just tells you how good PSSR 2 is, right? Going to look at some of the comments. He says, I'm not sure how to feel about this 1080p upscaled to 4K using PSSR and Pro. Hopefully it's good. Well, that's what PSSR 2 is going to be able to do that at a lower resolution. It's not going to need the 1440p. They need an option with ray tracing off on PlayStation. You never know. He says about PS5 Pro right now. He's getting that look. Day one PS5 Pro, as we see, wow, their engine seems very capable. This is how you do it. Guys, do you know how embarrassing this is when you think about what the Unreal Engine 5, all the issues it's been having and what developers have been doing because it's free, but it's like, and they've been taking these shortcuts. They've been screwing you over. These specs have been capable. This whole generation, it just gives you the idea. You're getting games that are actually truly next gen that are more demanding in the sense of, like, if you just looked at Crimson Desert, it's like, look how big that world is. Look how amazing the game looks. Look at the physics. It's blowing away these games that were giving me crappy performance. What does that tell you? Yeah, it speaks a lot to you. So yeah, this engine is very capable. LMAO, damn, the Sony boys told me it'll be 4K 60 frames per second with ray tracing on the Pro. And they're correct, but not at high settings. We were thinking maybe in the realm of Resident Evil Requiem, right? Which that was kind of like on low. This game is doing 4K 60, and you can get more than 60 with ray tracing on high. These guys are taking optimization to the level that you want to see late in a console cycle, where it's like, yeah, let's bring the in-game optimization here. This is how you do it. And this is not the richest company in the world. It's Pearl Abyss. You know, the people who did Black Desert Online. I mean, this is amazing. So down here, Matthew says, Resident Evil 9 pushed me to finally get a Pro. 2026 has so many great games that will justify the purchase. And if you guys didn't know, still a purchase, Ghost of Yotei Legends just came out too. So that's out if you want to download that. Maybe they're adding some PSSR 2 to that. I can't wait to see if that's true or not. The game looks incredible already. It's already doing native 1800p, 60 frames per second with ray tracing on too. So now we're seeing this again. This is another game that's in front of you with the evidence that I was telling people last week that is showing you what PSSR 2 is. It wasn't a fluke. Capcom doesn't do fluke things, and these guys are setting another bar, if you get what I mean. So we can go and read some of these comments. I want you guys to let me know what you think. Once again, the Series X is no longer in competition with the PS5 Pro to be compared as if it's close. No, it put itself in a different bracket. PSSR 2 is able to do that. So it's worth it now. It started off as a beta testing device, which I never agreed with, but now it's quite clear that this is exciting because what else is coming next? Every single Sony first-party game and all these third-party games are going to be better into the Magnus drops. But even then, that's a PC, and you can do that right now on PC. We're talking about consoles. Like, you have to be a console. You know what I mean? And it's looking nice for PS5 Pro owners right now. So this guy's saying, what about Xbox Series X? Well, that's where you go that. So no ray tracing on Pro then. What are you talking about, dude? Oh, you know what? He didn't put this up here. That's why I'm glad I went to that other thread. But it's like, yeah, ray tracing high, bro. Go take a look at that. 60 frames per second modes, 2 on the base PlayStation 5 and Series X, and balanced. They try on Pro too. 1440p to 4K for VR on window. Yeah, it's I'll be going quality. My eyes pick up frames differences easily, and they drive me nuts. The bane of being an editor for decades. Okay, there's some people that will do that. They don't even care about the 60. They're going to go for the highest quality possible. I mean, you could do that. It's a single player game. PlayStation 5 keeps on winning with all these epic AAA third-party games. This and GTA 6 are game of the year. I'm telling you, I think they're going to be able to pull off 60 frames per second with GTA 6, y'all. It translates to another 10,000 PS5 Pro units sold. Yeah, pretty much. So, guys, it's not an argument anymore. We get this here. It's not just the PS5 Pro and PSSR 2, but how good are these developers with optimizing? Are they trying to take shortcuts? Are they trying to push the NVIDIA scheme to get the highest graphics cards to make you think you need that? Or this whole time, you realize that they should have been optimizing for you like they should have from the beginning? It's right here in front of you. I mean, these consoles are not even using 32 gigabytes of RAM, and look at the results. This should just tell you everything that's wrong with this industry, or that was wrong, that people are coming on saying, hey, look at this. And now with the way that prices are skyrocketing in the PC market, optimization should only be getting better because you're trying to save money even in that realm because it's so demanding. So this could benefit us big time, and I think it will in the long run. And when this bubble pops, prices need to come down, and now developers are going to get back to optimizing. And then you're looking over there in Epic saying, what are you doing with your engine? And what's been going on with these developers? Because look at these games that are coming out years later. They look way better than any of those games, but they're not giving me crappy performance. It's something to think about. And PSSR 2, once again, is the most exciting thing right now in the gaming industry as far as pushing like the console world to a new height. And Sony's mid-gen upgrade is actually paying off. So it's finding its value like the PS4 Pro did. The great thing about the PS4 Pro is that it was $400. Though those days are over, but man, that was a steal. You know what I mean? Now, the great thing about the PS5 Pro is the value that it's now providing for its price point with PSSR 2 when you look at what's available on the PC market. So we got to get the idea here. Sony keeps finding ways to push gaming to a new bracket outside of the Nintendo world, who, you know, they push gaming in a different way to a new bracket. They both are doing great things. Hopefully Xbox picks some things up and has strong publishing this year and gives us really good video games. I'm really hoping for Fable to be phenomenal, and I can't wait to see how it's going to be on PSSR 2. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about these results right here. I'm very happy with them. Like, comment, subscribe as usual. As you guys know, bringing you amazing content in the PSSR bracket, and I can't wait to bring other topics up too. Later, y'all. I look forward to this game. Let me know what you guys think. Later.